In Lab 3, we are going to learn a structured approach to debugging. Especially when you are debugging legacy application, it's easy to get entangled with various issues that can come up. So if you can isolate where the problem is coming, it will make your life easy when you try to get this application working in the newer operating systems. The first question you need to check is whether it is an environment related issue. So usually the target systems, the production environment may run in a very stringent restricted environment, and you need to make sure that the right permissions that is required for the application is available based on the group policies, folder policies, or antivirus software that have been running, or even sometimes the firewall restrictions can prevent the application from running. So you need to first isolate whether it's an environmental issue. You also want to check whether it's an issue with the legacy application in the first place. So you may be trying to get a functionality of the application that didn't work even in the old operating system. So trying to fix that issue may not work in the new operating system. It could also be a problem with the packaging. For example, when you try to capture the files, maybe you haven't done the proper testing, or you haven't executed different parts of the application, which causes the application not to capture all the files registered or needed for that application to function. It could also be a problem with the EMP packaging tool. Like any other software, EMP package tool also can have bugs. So in that case, you need to isolate whether it's a problem with the EMP packaging tool or something that is related to the first three we discussed. So in this lab series, we will go through each of these and then try to understand how to isolate problems, how to do proper logging so that we can quickly fix the issue. I'm in my AWS console. I already shut down the machines related to the lab 2. Since we are going to do lab 3, let's start the lab 3 instances. Go to action and start the instances. We are going to first log into the lab machine 3 troubleshooting Win 2019 cust queue. But we are not going to log in as the administrator. We are going to log in as a test user, which does not have administrator permissions. To do that, we first need to retrieve the password. So what you can do is to go to action and then you can click connect and then start the session manager. Connect into that. This will start the session manager to that Windows instance, and we are going to reset the password of the test user that is already inside this machine. We need to first, of course, enable the local user. And the name of the local user is test user 01. And then we are going to set the password with net user test user 01. And the password, you can generate a strong password. So let's generate this password, copy it, paste the password. And also you need to enable local user administrator. Because we will use this one to edit certain files and to do some debugging. So let's enable that one also. And also set the password for that. You can use the same password. Alternatively, you can generate a new one. Make sure you save these passwords at a secure location so that we can connect using these different users. Once done, you can terminate the session. Click terminate, that will terminate the session. So let's try to log in to this instance with test user 01. Go and log in into this machine. So let's connect into this. Get the RDP access. Let's connect into this. You need to connect as another user. So go for more users, choose a different account. It needs to be test user 01. And the password is the password that you created a moment ago. Click remember me and then connect. So I'm in my Windows desktop machine. So the application we have already migrated. So let's say the customer is going to try it, and when they try to run it, let's see what will happen. Okay, you got an error. So this is the end user experience. They got an error. So now the question is how we are going to debug this problem. The first step is to check whether the application icon itself is pointing to the right location. So let's go here and then look for the properties. And here you can find that it's been installed under C program data, custqlab. Let's go there and then check whether this is existing. So we have the software, and the condition that it uses is run condition 6. So let's look at the programs and then open it with Notepad. So here you can find the run conditions. So here run 6 is this program. So when you click that icon, this is what get actually executed. So that seems okay. But is this program managed to start the compatibility package is the next question. So if you go into the C EMP tools, start process explorer, we should see all the processes running on this Windows machine. So let's try to start this application again and then see what is happening. Clearly the application started, but it stops before it can work. So you can find that the entire the application crashed once you click OK. So we need to figure it out why this is happening and then fix that problem. Because this didn't even manage to start the compatibility package runner. So best way to start looking for this is to add some login into that compatibility package runner so that we can trace what happens when that application crash. So we know where the location of this file is. So let's go into the C EMP. It's under a hidden folder, program data. So that's where it's been installed, custqlab. So to add login, you need to modify this compatibility package engine CLC. So what we are going to do is to edit this file, compatibility package engine CLC, which is a configuration file for this engine that runs behind the scene. To do that, you of course need to start this one in a Notepad++ or Notepad as an administrator. Otherwise, you cannot save the file after making changes. So open Notepad++. Run as a different user. Username is administrator and the password is what you have just created. Let's now open this file. So the file that you need to open is this CLC file, compatibility package engine CLC. And here, because we know that this application crashes when it starts, even well before the process can run, let's add an entry called log equals verbose. Let's save this. By default, the logs are created in a special location. So if you go into the run and then type this local app data AWS EMP logs, you'll find some log files being created. So these are the ones already existing. So let's delete them and then try to create the new ones. So now the log file is empty. So let's try to run this application. So it gave the error, and along with that it created some logs. Let's explore the content of these logs. And here you can find some useful information, what happened, what files got access, and so on, part of that. And you can clearly see there are some errors happening. But what is interesting is this one, compatibility package engine log. So let's open that. Here you can find some errors. So you need to, of course, go through each of these error and then search, for example, something like error. You will find that there is a problem happening. And it says you are using 32-bit of this virtualization platform instead of 64-bit. So let's try to use the 64-bit of the engine instead of the 32-bit. So the important step here is that we enable the logging so we can track why the application crashes even before the process can run. So let's go and then try to find the 64-bit version of the engine. Although it is not necessary to have the compatibility package tooling installed on the target machine, to get the required DLLs, I have installed it already. And if you go into your C program files, AWS EMP, you will find certain files available under runtime x64. This can come from another operating system where I have installed this compatibility package. But to make your life easy, I have installed the tool in the same machine. So let's copy certain files. That includes 64-bit, 86, engine. So these files you need to copy. So copy all these files and then paste them in your location where this application is set up. So we know that it's set up under program data. Cost queue. And then paste the files. You need to give the administrator password when you copy the files. And all looks good. So the file has been copied. So the next thing is to run this application again to check whether we get the same error. So we know where the program logs get created. So if you go into the log files, you can clean this one up. We don't need these logs anymore. So let's run the application again. You get the same error, but the question is, do we still get the error we got on this log? So let's open it with Notepad. So as you can see, there's no any 32-bit and 64-bit conflicts. So seems like the engine started successfully. So there's no any error messages. This one you can safely ignore. So this means that there could be another problem that is happening. So my application is still not running. So the next potential check that we need to check is whether it's something to do with the environment. So if this application works in Windows 2003, then it's something to do with probably with the Windows 2019 environment. So let's try to run the same application in Windows 2003. To do that, let's log in into this Troubleshooting Win 2003 R2 CustQ instance and then try to run the application. So take the IP address, remote desktop into that. So if you are using as before a laptop which is with enterprise permissions, you may not be able to directly connect into that. So therefore I'm using Windows 2000 machine to remote login into it. So allow me to save credentials, save as in the desktop. Let's call 2003 RDP. And then let's connect into that. So remember, I'm connecting as test user 01. I'm not connecting as the administrator. The password for this user is given in your lab guide. So I'm now connected into Windows 2003 server. I have already installed the CustQ application on this Virgin Windows 2003 machine with the same steps that I used to install this application in Windows 2019. So let's run this. As before, it's giving the same set of errors. So this tells us that the problem is not with the operating system, but more to do with some kind of permissions, or it could even be a problem with the packaging. So let's now go back into our Windows 2019 server and then try to find what is causing the problem. We will use our good old friend, the process monitor, and it's under CEMP tools. So if you start that process monitor, it can trace all the activities of processors. Of course, you need to give the administrator password. So this doesn't allow you to copy paste the password. So therefore, one thing you can do is to run as a different user. So if you select like this, it will still process the same one and you cannot paste. So alternately, what you can do is to do shift right click. So that's pressing my shift key while I'm right clicking that, and then click as run as a different user. So here you can type administrator and then copy paste the password. Copy paste the password, click OK, and this will start the process monitor. So of course, let's clear this. We don't want all these applications. We are interested in only few applications. So let's clear this. And then let's run this application again, CustQ. So some kind of an error happened. And let's stop the capture process. So what we are interested is in this application. So if you go into the filter, you can reset all the previously added filters. We don't need them anymore. So let's remove all of these. These are my previous debug steps. We don't need any more. Apply. And again, go back to your process tree, select this one, and then include the process. You can say it add process including the filter, close. And here you will find the list of events that happen for this exe. So of course, there's a lot of events here. You need to carefully look at it. But one method that I use is to filter based on the result. So let's add another filter. The filter I'm going to add is the result. Is not equal to success. And you need to include them. So all looks good. So this will give you a list of results that didn't end up being successful. So if you look at very carefully, there are a lot of events, but then there's another one called access denied. So it will take some time for you to go through this list of errors that this application caused. And if you apply this filter called access denied, so if you apply this filter called result is access denied, you will find that this application is trying to create some registry keys in this location, and it got some access key violations. What it says is desired access minimum allowed. So it seems like there's a problem with the access denied. So it could potentially be because I'm running this one as a test user, which does not have administrator access. So to check our hypothesis, let's try to run this one as an administrator. So let's run it as an administrator. So of course you cannot type the password here. So what you can do is right click with the shift key and then run as a different user, and then type the password. So I type the password, and now it seems to be working. So the problem was an access denied error. The application, when it tried to start, it could not write into the special registry entry, and that's the problem that was causing this application to crash. The proper solution for that one is to package the correct registry entries during the package process, so that when you install the application, the registry entries are available for this customer queue application. We can do it, but as of now, we have finished with the debugging step and got this application working. A quick and dirty fix for this problem is to go here and then go for properties. Under compatibility, you can type run this program as an administrator. Click apply, click OK. So when it prompts for the administrator, you can type the administrator password and run the application. But that's the quick fix. But the proper fix is to make sure that when you package this application, the registry entry that this one considered as access denied is created, so that during the installation time that this registry entry get created. So what you can do is at the time when you are packaging this application, make sure that you run this exe so that the registry key get created, which will be captured by the capture software. And when you are installing it, since the installation happens as an administrator, that installation will go there and then create these registry keys in the required locations. We'll leave it as an exercise where you are going to repackage this exe and then install it again on this machine. Once you have completed the labs, make sure that you turn these instances off so that we can reduce the cost incurred for this account. Let's stop these instances. In the next lab, we are going to start these 4 instances and then go for more advanced debugging techniques.